Welcome to English via AI. Before rockets changed the world, before billion-dollar companies existed, there was a quiet boy with big questions. How did imagination become action? This is the story of Elon Musk. Imagine this. Your rockets explode, again and again. People say your ideas are unrealistic. Your companies are running out of money. Experts believe you will fail. Years later, those same companies help make electric cars more popular. They help send reusable rockets into space. They also reshape how the world talks about technology. But this story does not begin with rockets. It does not begin with wealth. It begins with a quiet boy. A boy who spent more time with books than with crowds. A boy who asked strange questions. A boy who looked at the world and wondered why it had to stay this way. His name was Elon Musk. This is the story of how imagination slowly became ambition, and ambition became action. Elon Musk was born on June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. South Africa at that time was living under apartheid. This system affected daily life across the country. Inside one house in Pretoria, a different story was beginning. Elon was not known as the loud child. He often stayed quiet. He spent long periods reading and thinking. Books became one of the biggest parts of his childhood. He read science fiction, encyclopedias, and stories about inventors. Many children read to pass time. Elon often read to imagine possibilities. Years later, he said books helped shape how he thought. One idea stayed with him for a long time. The future is not something that appears. People build it. Childhood was not always easy. Elon later spoke publicly about difficult experiences in school and bullying. Those moments pushed him deeper into learning and imagination. While other children were living in the present, he spent more time thinking about tomorrow. Nobody around him knew what that would lead to. They only saw a quiet boy. But inside his mind, something was already starting. Books were no longer enough. He wanted to create. Around the age of 10, Elon became interested in computers. Today, computers are everywhere. But in the early 1980s, having access to one felt very different. There were no online teachers or video tutorials. Learning often meant reading manuals and solving problems alone. Elon became interested in teaching himself. He started learning programming. Programming means writing instructions for computers. At first, progress looked small. There were lines of text and many mistakes. But every mistake taught him something new. He kept going. For the first time, he was not only imagining ideas, he was building them. That feeling stayed with him. At around 12 years old, Elon created a simple computer game called Blastar. The game involved controlling a spacecraft and fighting enemy ships. By modern standards, the game was basic. According to widely reported accounts, the code for Blastar was later sold to a computer magazine for about $500. The amount was not life-changing, but the lesson mattered. Something created in a room could have value outside that room. Ideas could become reality. This idea stayed with him. Learn, build, fail, improve, and repeat. Nobody was calling him a genius. He was simply discovering that creating felt exciting. As Elon became older, he started thinking more seriously about the future. He believed technology would shape human life. He wanted to be close to that change. At 17 years old in 1989, he moved from South Africa to Canada. Canada became an important first step. It opened a path toward larger opportunities. Real life felt uncertain. New country, new people, and no guarantees. Life during this period was simple. He worked different jobs and continued studying. He also kept thinking. He was not only thinking about earning money. He became interested in solving bigger problems. He asked questions about how technology could improve life. Over time, 3 areas became especially important to him. The Internet was the first. Sustainable energy was the second. Space became the third. He believed these areas could influence humanity's future. Most people thought these ideas were unrealistic. Near the end of his studies, Elon was accepted into a graduate program at Stanford University. According to widely reported accounts, he chose to delay starting the program and never actually attended. The Internet era was moving quickly, and he wanted to build instead. That decision looked risky, but it became the beginning of something bigger. Now it was time to create. After moving to Canada, Elon attended Queen's University. Later, he transferred to the University of Pennsylvania in the United States. There, he studied physics and economics. Physics helped explain how the world works. Economics helped explain how businesses and people make decisions. That combination later appeared throughout his career. University life was not a perfect success story. Elon experimented with ideas and kept learning. He thought deeply about how to solve difficult problems. He was preparing himself for larger goals. He was collecting tools instead of chasing quick success. He wanted knowledge that could later become action. University gave him structure, but it also showed him that learning does not only happen in classrooms. The lessons from these years would shape many future decisions. There is no guarantee of success. In 1995, Elon and his brother Kimball started a company called Zip2. The company focused on helping newspapers and businesses build digital services. At that time, Internet businesses were still new. The early days were difficult. Elon worked very long hours and focused heavily on building. Comfort was not the priority. Starting a company often looks exciting from the outside. In reality, it usually means constant pressure and uncertainty. Zip2 experienced both. The company slowly started growing. Investors became interested. Growth also brought changes in decision-making. As the business expanded, disagreements appeared. Elon learned that founders do not always control everything forever. In 1999, Zip2 was sold. Elon earned millions from his share of the deal. Most people would have stopped there, but Elon saw something different. He did not see an ending. He saw a beginning. After Zip2, Elon moved quickly into another project. He started a company called X.com. The company focused on financial services and online payments. Today, online payments feel normal. In the late 1990s, many people did not fully trust digital money. The idea still felt new. Competition increased quickly. Another payment company entered the market. Eventually, the businesses merged. Over time, the combined company became known as PayPal. PayPal helped people move money online more easily. It became part of the early internet era. Success was not smooth. There were disagreements inside the company about leadership and direction. Elon was eventually replaced as CEO while remaining a shareholder. For many people, that moment would feel like failure. But setbacks did not stop the story. The company continued growing. In 2002, PayPal was bought by eBay. Elon received a large payout from the sale. This became his first major fortune. Now he had money and freedom. Most people would protect it carefully. But Elon saw an opportunity most people never get. The chance to risk everything on ideas the world still called impossible. By the early 2000s, Elon had something many people spend their lives chasing. He had money and freedom, but instead of protecting his success, he chose uncertainty. One of the areas that stayed in his mind was space. In 2002, he founded SpaceX. The goal was to reduce the cost of space travel. At that time, many people believed private space companies could not seriously compete in this field. Space exploration was mostly connected with governments and large organizations. The idea sounded unrealistic. SpaceX faced difficult early years. Building rockets was expensive, and failures became public. Progress was slower than people expected. Money kept disappearing, and results kept being delayed. Still, Elon continued funding the company. He believed space travel could change humanity's future, even when the early results said otherwise. While SpaceX was struggling, Elon became involved with a second company. A common myth says Elon founded Tesla alone. In reality, Tesla already existed before he joined, and he later became an early investor and leading figure in the company. Tesla focused on electric vehicles. Electric vehicles use electricity instead of traditional fuel. At that time, many people believed they could never become widely popular. Elon became deeply involved in growing the company. Money and pressure increased. Expectations became larger. From the outside, it looked ambitious. From the inside, the risks were becoming enormous. Now he was running two difficult companies at the same time. Neither one had proven it could survive. Two unproven companies, and very little time left to be wrong. The most difficult period had not arrived yet. By 2008, pressure was building everywhere. SpaceX was struggling. Tesla was struggling. SpaceX experienced multiple failed launches. Rockets exploded and valuable time disappeared. Public confidence became weaker. Tesla also faced serious financial pressure. Building cars at scale was harder than expected. Problems kept appearing. At one point, Elon later described being close to running out of money. Resources became limited. The future became uncertain. People often imagine success as one straight line upward. Real stories rarely work that way. This period became one of the hardest moments in his journey. SpaceX launched again. failure happened again. Another attempt followed. Then, something changed. In September 2008, SpaceX successfully reached orbit with Falcon 1. It became an important milestone for the company. Around the same period, Tesla found ways to continue operating. Survival became the victory. The companies stayed alive. What kept both companies alive was not luck. It was persistence. Those difficult years proved something important. Success was no longer theory. It had been tested under pressure. This idea had existed before, but SpaceX helped move it into practical use at a larger level. It became one of the clearest examples of innovation in the space industry. It shifted how the entire space industry thought about cost. Tesla continued growing. Electric vehicles became more common around the world. Competition across the industry increased. Elon also became involved in other projects. These included work connected to artificial intelligence and technology development. Public attention became larger. Supporters viewed him as someone pushing difficult ideas forward. Critics questioned some decisions and public statements. Both reactions became part of his public image. People sometimes focus only on wealth rankings, but money alone does not explain the story. The bigger question is how ideas become reality. The quiet child who spent time reading had not followed a normal path. Many predictions about him had been wrong. Success did not arrive quickly. The story was still continuing. New challenges kept appearing. But one lesson was becoming difficult to ignore. When people talk about Elon Musk, they often talk about money. They talk about rockets and famous companies. But those things came much later. The deeper story started with curiosity. A quiet child asked questions and kept learning. Small habits slowly became larger actions. People sometimes believe success arrives through one perfect moment. Most real stories are built through many difficult years. Progress often looks invisible at the beginning. Elon did not win every time. Some ideas failed. Some decisions created criticism, but failure did not end the journey. He kept adjusting and trying again. Another common misunderstanding is that big achievements happen alone. In reality, companies grow through thousands of people working together. Leadership matters, but teams matter too. This story is also not proof that every risk succeeds. Many risks fail, but thoughtful action creates opportunities that never appear for people who never begin. The lesson is not to become Elon Musk. The lesson is to think bigger than your current situation. Small actions repeated for years can change a life. Every person starts somewhere. Every skill begins as something difficult. Every future begins with one decision. At the beginning of this story, there was no guarantee of success. There was only curiosity. There was only action. Years passed, and the world changed. New companies appeared. New technologies became part of daily life. But behind all of that, one idea stayed the same. Learn continuously. Build patiently. Most people never build rockets. Most people never start global companies. But everyone makes choices. Some choices move life forward. some choices keep life the same. The difference is often smaller than people imagine. A quiet boy once looked at the future and wondered what could change. Years later, millions of people were watching what he built. Stories like this remind us that change begins long before success becomes visible. Every great story begins with a decision. The question is, what decision will change your life? Vocabulary, meaning, plus example. Ambition, meaning, a strong desire to achieve something. Example, her ambition helped her keep working. Curiosity, meaning, a strong desire to learn. Example, curiosity pushed him to ask questions. Reusable, meaning, able to be used again. Example, reusable rockets reduce costs. Milestone, meaning, an important achievement. Example, the launch became a major milestone. Investor, meaning, a person who puts money into a business. Example, the investor supported the company. Pressure, meaning, stress caused by responsibility. Example, he worked under heavy pressure. Innovation, meaning, a new idea or method. Example, innovation changed the industry. Opportunity, meaning, a good chance to do something. Example, she used every opportunity to learn. Persistence, meaning, continuing even when things are difficult. Example, persistence helped him improve. Influence, meaning, power to affect people or events. Example, technology has global influence. Grammar tip, past simple versus past continuous. Past simple, completed action example. He moved to Canada. Past continuous, action happening during another time. Example, he was thinking about the future. That was the story of Elon Musk, a quiet boy who kept learning and kept building through failure. One lesson stands out. Big results often start with small decisions. Now tell me in the comments, what decision will change your life? Like this video and subscribe to English via AI. Keep learning, keep building,